Yo guys, before the video starts, the majority of you watching these videos aren't actually subscribed according to my analytics, so right now, subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a video. It would be really appreciated, but yeah, let's get right into it. Something that TNA became notorious for in its heyday was signing former WWE guys. In theory, it was actually quite exciting seeing the second biggest wrestling company signing these former WWE guys, because most of the people they signed were misused in the WWE, and the prospect of them getting a push and a large platform to show what they've got was exciting. But more often than not, the WWE wrestlers that TNA signed were either wrestlers they didn't need, were forced to top just because they were former WWE guys, or they themselves just didn't use them well. You look at the likes of Damien Sandow, who TNA used horribly, and everyone was so excited for him to go there after his failed WWE run. And then Alberto Del Rio was another one who was pushed as the face of the company when nobody really wanted to see it. But there was one guy in particular that TNA signed from WWE, and to put it frankly, the guy was a nobody in WWE, and when he ended up in TNA, he excelled. He became one of TNA's biggest stars. That man is EC3. Today we're going to be looking back at his original run in WWE, his TNA run, and what's gone wrong since he re-signed with the WWE in 2018. This is the rise and fall of EC3. What's going on guys, it's Tom of Thompson Wrestling and welcome back to another video on the channel. If this video goes well, I'll definitely consider making more videos like these, the rise and fall of X. Before the video starts, subscribe and notifications on, because the majority of you aren't actually subscribed, so please do subscribe because that would be really appreciated. And yeah, let's get right into the rise and fall of EC3. EC3 debuted in Florida Championship Wrestling, WWE's at the time developmental territory, in 2009, debuting as Mike Hutter, which was a shortened version of his real name, Michael Hutter. In FCW, he would go through a couple of name changes very quickly. He debuted on the 9th of February 2009 as Mike Hutter, but just 10 days later he was renamed to Derek Bateman. Then 2 months later in April, he became known as Agent D as part of a stable called Washington Secret Service, which also included Agent T and Agent J. Agent T, whom of which went on to become Camacho in WWE and now wrestles in New Japan as Tongaloa. A bit of fun facts there. But then once again, 2 months later, his name was changed again, this time back to Derek Bateman, and this would remain his name in his original WWE run for the remainder of it. Bateman would find his first bit of title success when he won the FCW Florida Tag Team titles with Johnny Curtis aka Fandango on August 9th, 2010. They would hold the titles for 3 months before losing them to Wes Briscoe and Xavier Woods on November 9th. And from there, Bateman would debut on the main roster. Well, kind of, but not really. Bateman would appear on the 4th season of NXT in December 2010. Yes, that's right, the 4th season. This was back when NXT was a reality game show and was nothing like it is today. You saw rookies who would be mentored by current WWE superstars and would compete against one each other in challenges and matches, with people being eliminated one by one until there was a winner, and that person would receive a contract, air quotes, in the WWE. It was a weird blend of kayfabe and real life, with the votes being legit and the challenges not being told to the competitors, which is why you saw those horrible promos by the likes of Justin Gabriel and Eli Cottonwood. Bateman competed against Jacob Novak, remember him, Byron Saxton, who was a wrestler at this time, Conor O'Brien, who went on to become Connor, Brodus Clay, and of course Johnny Curtis aka Fandango. Bateman was quite popular with the fans, especially with his pro being Daniel Bryan, but ultimately he would finish 3rd and not get his quote-unquote contract with the WWE. However, Bateman would reappear in NXT Redemption, which was the 5th season of the show that saw losers of the previous season get a second chance. Bateman would be a late entry into the contest and would join when 3 people had already been eliminated, the Dirty Cheat. However, Bateman was never eliminated. In fact, Neither was Darren Young or Titus O'Neil, who were the other two remaining competitors. NXT Redemption went on for over a year because when it came down to these three, eliminations just stopped and it became just a normal weekly TV show. A terrible weekly TV show, don't get me wrong, but WWE was planting the seeds for what NXT would eventually become. When NXT Redemption ended, the new revamped version of NXT debuted, the one we know it as today, and Bateman would make a few appearances on NXT, but ultimately it led nowhere, and he would be released from the WWE on May 17th, 2013. On September 26, 2013, vignettes started airing on TNA teasing a new character named Ethan, and the following week another TNA vignette aired revealing his name to be Ethan Carter III, with reports surfacing that he had signed with TNA and would be playing the character of Dixie Carter's spoilt nephew. Immediately, a huge contrast from what he had done in WWE could be identified from a mile away. In WWE, the second he entered the roster, he got lost in the shuffle due to all the FCW guys now being on television, and WWE couldn't think of anything to do with him, so they released him. Whereas in TNA, he's been placed at a high position immediately and is playing the character of the nephew of the real-life president of the company and one of the most prominent TV characters in TNA within Dixie Carter. TNA gets a bad rep for always signing former WWE guys and trying to force their fans to buy into them as stars, and I'll be honest, when TNA signed EC3, I thought this was happening. After seeing him pretty much be a jobber in the WWE, I really just thought they were forcing it with EC3 and he would never be a star and wasn't capable of playing such a prominent character. I thought he was a jobber being put in the main event, and man, I've never been so happy to be proven wrong. If you're a TNA fan, you already know how well EC3 did, and you already know that EC3 was a complete star and was just phenomenal in TNA. He proved that WWE completely misused him, and he was one of the biggest wrestling stars outside of the WWE during his time in TNA. He was a two-time TNA World Champion, a one-time Grand Champion, and would go over the likes of Matt Hardy, Kurt Angle, and Sting. Ultimately, he would leave Impact on January 13th, 2018 after a very successful run. He had a great career there, but it was time for him to return to NXT because at this point, NXT had evolved into just the home for indie stars and rising indie stars. On January 27th, 2018, EC3 returned to NXT, actually being under the EC3 name and not Derek Bateman. He was shown in the crowd at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia to a huge reaction, and it was confirmed that he had signed with NXT. EC3 had the perfect return match. He returned to NXT TakeOver New Orleans and competed in the NXT North American title ladder match along with Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Killian Dane and Lars Sullivan, and while he was unsuccessful in winning, he still came out of the match looking amazing. In fact, everyone did. This match was widely acclaimed. It was given 5 stars by Dave Meltzer and was considered one of the matches of the year, and all in all, just a perfect return match for EC3, but yeah, it all kind of went downhill from here. EC3 would enter into a feud with Velveteen Dream, with the two facing off at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, with EC3 losing, but though he lost, he still looked good like he did in the ladder match, and WWE was actually planning on calling up to the main roster already that summer, which kind of showed they must have had some sort of faith in him. However, EC3 got concussed in his match with Dream, and this would sadly mean that he would not get called up that summer. He returned to NXT and entered into a feud with Lars Sullivan, which he also lost, and his final feud in NXT was with the Undisputed Era, which, you guessed it, he also lost. His last match in NXT was against Adam Cole on January 9th, 2019, but less than a month before this, on December 17th, WWE did that really weird segment where they said they were in a new era and that the fans were the authority, and with it came many NXT call-ups, with EC3 being one of them, along with Lacey Evans, Lars Sullivan, Heavy Machinery and Nikki Cross, whom of which were all called up, and really it was the last thing needed, especially considering that not soon after, Ricochet and Aleister Black were also called up. And out of all these call-ups, you would have expected EC3 to be the biggest star out of them on the main roster, but really it's been the complete opposite. He wrestled his debut match on the February 4th edition of Raw against Dean Ambrose, where he won with a quick roll-up, which, all honesty, that's a promising start. He's got a win over a former world champion. But no, this would be the beginning of the end for EC3. This match took place after news had came out that Dean Ambrose would be leaving the WWE, and because of this meant that the crowd completely were on Ambrose's side, despite Ambrose being the heel and EC3 being the babyface. This completely angered WWE management, and they decided that they were going to blame it on EC3 for whatever reason. And since then, the guy has just been treated like a jobber. The only success he's had is that he's a 4-time 24/7 champion, but 3 of those reigns happened during live events, and all 4 of them lasted minutes, even seconds. So all in all, since EC3 has returned to WWE, he had an okay run in NXT. He lost a lot of his feuds, the bulk of his feuds, but despite losing those feuds, he still looked good and still was treated like a star and had credibility. And even though he's losing, at least he has that credibility, and if he was to win a title, it wouldn't come to the surprise of the fans, because he has that credibility. Whereas on the main roster, he has been jobbed and buried, so if we ever saw him win a mid-card title, it's like, wasn't that guy just a jobber like a month ago? And it's hard for the casual fans to buy into it. And it just sucks to see how EC3 has been treated. I hope that he does leave the WWE when his contract expires, if nothing changes, and he can go to AEW, he can go back to Impact, because those 2 companies will treat him really well. But yeah guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy, then smash that like button. I'll put a poll up on my community tab with the next options. It'll probably be Sami Zayn, Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro probably, and Wade Barrett. I think I'll do those 4 options. If not, I might add another one if I can think of one. But yeah, like the video, be sure to subscribe. I've got a really cool announcement, hopefully coming soon, hopefully in December, which is going to be really awesome. I can't wait to announce it. Follow me on Twitter at Top10 Wrestling. My Instagram is at @TomBell. I'll see you all soon. Make sure you subscribe with post notifications on. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.